Hey, we're going live to interview the wonderful Miss Dani today. She is a person with FND who completed our program in the summer, and I am so excited for you to meet her. So I'm going to get her in here, and I'll introduce myself as I bring her in. My name is Julie Hirschberg. I am a neurologic physical therapist. If we haven't met, hey, it's so nice to meet you. And I'm the owner and founder of Reactive Therapy and Wellness in the Los Angeles area, which is where Dani came for an intensive program for functional neurologic disorder. So, Dani, I'm going to get you on here. We get a little peek into Dani's journey today. And I always learn so much from hearing from people. So, Dani, I think you're here. There you are.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can, I can.
Okay. I can't
Yay.
even see you. Am I supposed to see you?
I see you. You can't see me.
Oh, but that's okay. I can see myself, so I guess that works. I can't see you though.
Okay, well, I hope you know I'm smiling, a big
Okay.
smile to see your face. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see you. And I know when I talked to your team today, they were like, please say hello. E- everybody. I know I shared when I announced that we were going live today, I shared the queen of TikToks was you when
I
you were
love
here.
those TikToks.
Oh my gosh, every day a new one came out and it was so fun. Um, I introduced myself already, but the world needs to know you, Dani.
Oh,
So share a little bit about you and maybe, a little bit of your life before we met you at Reactive.
okay. I'm Danielle and I'm 35. I feel like, ooh, this is official. Okay. I'm 35. I'm a mom of one, Miss Jada. She's 14. And I'm a wife. And I actually have been living with FND for 10 years. Actually, no, 11 years. So back 11 years ago, I was at work and I experienced my first seizure, and it was out of nowhere. And that led me to being hospitalized for over 2 weeks. And during that hospitalization, I was having back-to-back seizures every day, multiple doctors coming in, and they had no idea what was going on. Every doctor was looking at me with eyebrows up and just shaking of the heads. They ran every test and still didn't know what was going on. So, of course, that scared me, that scared my family. And while I was there, I had lost the feeling in my legs. So I immediately was like, something's going on. Like, I know you ran every test, but something is not right. But my sister, who actually went to Reactive with me, she was definitely like my coach and my mascot there. She was writing down every symptom and every test, and she was keeping track of everything. And she was going home, plugging into the internet. She was going home, reading articles. She said there has to be answers. And she came up with a condition called conversion disorder. And so she brought that back to the doctors, and they said, nope, there's no way, there's no way. And then we actually had a neurologist that they had brought in from a different state who was actually in the beginning stages of doing research on conversion disorder. And she was the one that diagnosed me. But that's kind of where my happiness ended, because great, I had a name, but now it's like, what do I do now? And they were basically telling me, your body, you're causing this. You don't know how to handle stress. You don't know how to handle trauma. You are the reason why this is happening to you. And I'm sitting there like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to handle this? How am I supposed to do this? And they said, you need to go to a psychiatrist and you need to get on medication. And that's what I did. I went to a psychiatrist and I was put on multiple medications. And instead of feeling better, I felt worse. I felt worse, not just those medications, but my seizures didn't go away. And so they set me up with home PT. PT had never heard of this before. And they said, well, we can just try to help you get your strength back, but that's all that we can do. So I really was left without answers, and I left feeling like, wow, I did this to myself. I'm
Mm.
the one to blame. The traumas that I've had, or the stress that I had, at the time I was a single mom. So you can only imagine, I'm looking at my kid and I'm like, man, what are we doing here? Like I caused this to
Right.
myself. So that was 11 years ago. But January of this year, I ended up back in the hospital. And this time I had symptoms that I've never had before. In a matter of hours, I went from dancing at a party to being unable to speak. I couldn't feel
Mm.
the entire right side of my body. I couldn't walk. I couldn't read. I was constantly dizzy, and I was having 9 to 10 seizures back to back.
Whoa.
Um, and I went to the hospital, and once again, I was held there. They ran every test. They had seen in my previous records that I had conversion disorder, and they immediately was like, okay, we'll just send you home with PT and OT and speech therapy. So I left the hospital not being able to talk, not being able to walk. I was in a wheelchair, and I couldn't feel my limbs. Um, and so PT and OT, again, it was the same cycle. I felt like, oh, I'm going down this rabbit hole again, Julie. I was like, they don't know what it is. They've never heard of it. The speech therapist literally told me, close your eyes, try to talk slowly, your voice will come back. And my husband looks
Oh my
at me and I
God.
look at him and I'm like, what is going on? So I was discouraged. I
Yeah.
really was. And I was even more discouraged when I looked at my hospital records from coming home from January, and it said patient has trauma. She cannot handle stress. She needs to see a psychiatrist for her episodes. So I just felt like there was just
Wow.
no getting better. My in-home care ended, and I felt like I was right at the beginning. So
Mm.
that was life before y'all.
Oh my goodness, though, the trauma from just that
Yeah.
would be enough for any person to lose it. Like that experience, like initially in the follow-ups, wow,
Mm-hmm.
Danny. Also, I can't keep my eyes off your
Oh,
nails. As
thank
you're like,
you.
OMG. Oh my gosh. I don't want to sidetrack our conversation, but we do got to have to talk about your nails.
Yes, my
For
business.
sure.
Yep.
For your business. That's right,
Yep.
because that's what you're doing now.
Yep.
Um, so and this has been a long journey. So this has been, 10, 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're living through this, you're raising a child, you're doing a lot during this time, but
Mm-hmm.
still not really having answers.
No.
um and then I'm like, how did you find reactive, and what kind of drew you? I mean, because I know you're not in California. We
Nope.
should say that. Yeah.
So, I mean, on top of like everything going on, I'm still working, right? And I'm a
Right.
top performer at my job. So I'm pushing through these symptoms because I'm thinking that's the only way that I got to live. And I came home, and so I was already on a medical leave. And I came home, and I had a little, come to Jesus moment. I said, this can't be it.
Mhm.
There has to be
Mhm.
something better, because in 11 years, you're telling me that the treatment is still the same. There's nothing that we can do. There's no new things that have come out. So, power of social media, right? I got on Instagram, and I started scrolling under the hashtag conversion disorder, and because that's all I knew it by. And
Mhm.
I came across a young lady's video where she was saying how, it's no longer called conversion disorder, and it was called FND, functional neurological disorder. That's the first time that I ever heard that. And I got it from Instagram, not a doctor, not a neurologist. I got it from Instagram.
Wow.
So I said, oh, well, there's a new name and no one told me. Okay. So I, then I went over to the hashtag for FND, and I came across a bunch of different videos. But I found you guys specifically because there was a previous patient of yours named Bree. Her handle is functional_Bree. And she was so bravely sharing her journey. She's a mom, she's a wife, and her symptoms were very much like mine. And her video was how she expressed that she was doing a 2-week program with you guys. And at this time, I had searched for places here. My family and I, I continued to decline. And I was desperate. So we were ready to book them tickets to New Zealand or the UK from the places that we found. We were going to go to the ends of the earth. And I had a village that was going to help me get there. And, I was very blessed to find her Instagram page. I still follow her today. So, hey, Bree. Uh, and the way she spoke about you all I all I felt was hope. She instilled hope in me, and I said, "Wow." She woke up in a wheelchair. She said they got me back to walking, got me back to running. I was in the gym before this. I was very active. I was ripping and running the streets, and now I'm confined to my bed. And so I I stalked your entire page. I stalked every post that you had. I made mental notes. I couldn't write at this time, but I could type. And I was typing notes in my phone and basically came up with a presentation to my husband why I needed to go. He didn't need much convincing, but I was ready just in case. So I showed him and I said, this is where I need to be. And everyone in my family said, okay, how do we make it happen? So that's how I found you.
Oh my goodness. What a great story. And also, it's funny. I do all this stuff on social media. I don't love social media, but that is one of the most powerful aspects of social media is like spreading of information. And
Mhm.
you used that, and your brilliant brain to put pieces together for yourself. So, you met, I
Mhm.
think you did a consultation with
I
Chelsea, right?
did. Yep.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cried on the phone.
Oh, you did.
I did because she just had such confidence in her voice, and that wasn't something I was used to hearing from any
Mm,
clinician that I was dealing with. So I immediately felt a connection. I said, "This is where I need to be."
yeah. And then you made the trek.
Yep.
So out of state. And did you have hesitations, making the trek to
Oh,
California? No?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was nervous, Julie.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I would be leaving my husband. I
Uh-huh.
was leaving my daughter. I was leaving my friends and family. And back to my daughter, it was her I was going to miss her first day of high school. And I've
That's
never missed
right.
the first day of school. So I always got ready. We did a big thing on first day. I would embarrass her at the school. This was a huge milestone, right? So I felt guilty too. I felt
Mhm.
really guilty because I said, this is going to take away time and as well as financial from my
Yeah.
family. So that was that piece of it. And then the other piece was, you are very active, Julie, on Instagram. So a part of me was like, is this just for Instagram? Like, is this place as amazing as it seems on Instagram? Because, sometimes on Instagram, it's not what's really going on behind the scenes. So I had that unknown part of me. And I'm like, I just got to take the leap. And I don't know if this is going to work for me. Can they even help me? So yeah, I definitely had
Mm,
hesitations.
yeah. Yeah, as you should. You can't take everything at face value on Instagram,
Hmm.
right? Like it might not even be real.
Yeah.
Um, so so now you came in the summer.
Hmm.
You missed your the first day of high school
Yep,
for your daughter.
I did.
I think we had like 5 weeks
I originally had
together.
four.
Four,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And I know I got to meet your sister
Yep.
too during that time.
Hmm.
Um, what changes have you seen in your
Oh
life?
my goodness. I tell everybody that I feel like I'm at a new baseline. I can't even, so I'm
Mm,
can't say I'm back to 100% because, we're about being real here.
yeah.
I'm not back at 100%. But when I look back, was my 100% even 100%? I don't know.
Mm,
So,
hmm.
it really wasn't. So it's like, wow, what did I really have to gauge off of what I thought was 100%? But I think my biggest change, I would say, is the confidence that I have now. I have the confidence in the tools that was provided to me. I'm confident in what my body and brain is capable of doing despite FND.
Mm,
And the confidence has allowed me to gain back control in my life, which was one of the number one wins that we talked about that I wanted. I wanted some sense of control. Me and FND, we're going to be in this together, but we're going to have to share the spotlight. And so I
I
needed to
love
have
that.
some type of control back in my life and get back to some of the old things that I was able to do, and also be able to continue new things. And that's what I've been able to do. I'm at a new baseline. And, my 4 weeks originally turned into 6 weeks because I saw the value in the help that I was getting. And I knew that I needed to be there just a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. And then you needed to beat Mike in a race
Yes, I
down the
did. I was
street.
so determined. I was so determined. I'm like, Mike, I'm going to beat you in the race. And, despite what that video showed, I did.
Yeah, yeah. You needed to be running and beat your therapist
Hmm.
in a race.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I love how you shared that. And your determination is like literally oozing out of my phone camera screen. Like it is, you're so determined. Jenna's on here, by the way, and Ava. And then Stella's on here. She's like Dancing Queen Dani. So very, very popular in the reactive community for sure. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what was therapy like? What were some of your favorite things that you did in therapy? Besides just beating all of your therapists at all the games.
Well, besides the TikToks too, Chelsea
Mhm.
introduced me to my first TikTok. I was like, these are amazing. But besides the TikToks, I don't think I have one favorite thing I had to pick. So I have a few, but
Yeah.
I really loved how the team made me a part of my treatment plan.
Mm.
I think that was only because like every single one of them took an interest in me beyond my FND diagnosis and other medical
Mm.
issues. My plan wasn't prepackaged and pre-shipped to me and said, "Oh, this is what we're doing." My opinion was taken into account, and my interests and my hobbies were taken into account. So at that point, therapy no longer felt like therapy. I felt like I was hanging out with some friends and we were doing activities that was making me feel good. And that's when I knew I could trust each and every one of them. And then that helped me buy into the program. And once you had
Mhm.
my buy-in, I was sold. I was ready to do it all over again and tell everybody about it. So, I was a part of what was happening to me. And every session began with, what do you want to do today? What do you need? And
Mm.
coming from 11 years of medical trauma, it had been a long time that someone has said that to me, and I really at that moment knew, oh, okay, this is for real. And like I said, once I got that, you guys gave me, I had that trust and had that buy-in and just felt that connection with you all. Therapy was a breeze. So I think that was my favorite part, is being a part of the plan.
Yeah, and the center
Mhm.
of it. You are the center. And what is maybe something that like you mentioned, you have tools now. What is something that
Mhm.
maybe you learned that your brain and body need?
Um, so well, my biggest thing is that I'm a why person. So I
Mm,
needed to know, like, outside of my diagnosis, like what was the why, what was going on.
mm,
So
mhm,
I definitely learned that, you know, I get overstimulated and I didn't understand like
mm,
what was going on. So stimulation was a huge part of my therapy. And I learned new tools as far as to like coming out of my seizures as well. Chelsea likes to describe it that my brain had a spotlight, right? And I needed to not give so much attention to that spotlight. So what are we going to do to distract my brain? Tools like
mhm.
that. So, or even like the reasons why I was having trouble reading and or why I was constantly dizzy. I learned that I love lemon and that was good for my nervous system to
Oh.
help calm me down. Just the little tidbit things that I learned that help create the overall picture.
Yeah, you learned a
Mhm.
lot in that time. That is awesome. And we have folks applying for programs, considering these programs every single day. What might you say to someone who's on the fence?
Uh, to get off that fence, honey. um, Anyone that's asked me this, I have told them that this is probably the best decision that I could have made for my health. And I would do it every single time in my life. If my life was on a loop, I would always do it. And so the tools that I've gained, the perspective I've gained on my diagnosis, the information that I have gained. Information is key. I wasn't given just a title of a diagnosis. I was given a title and then I was given information behind that diagnosis. And I feel like I got a new start. So I know it sounds cheesy, but I feel like I got a new lease on life. I've had other patients reach out to me and we talk. And, others have reached out to me that are considering going. And I've told them the same thing every single time. You have nothing to lose. So bet on yourself and bet on this team.
And I mean, bet on yourself. You're right. Like, I
Yeah.
really hear that from you, Danny, is that you bet on yourself. You're like, I can do this. And, you worked really hard in that program.
I tried.
I know it's fun and it's
Hmm.
very person centered, but it is not without practice,
Yeah.
right? And learning new tools and things and using them.
Yeah. We
Um,
laughed and danced as much as I cried and had ups and downs. And I love that also too, like just to give Mike the psych a shout out, he helped me navigate that as well. So like that was an essential piece to the program. Like, I'm doing all these new things in PT and OT and I'm hitting these new milestones. And then I go into Mike and he's like, okay, let's gather the pieces and let me help you navigate those emotional roller coaster that comes with treatment. So shout out to Mike.
Yeah, big shout out to Mike for that. Um, and you have been living with FND for 11 years,
Mhm.
and we meet many folks who've been on such like a roller coaster of a ride, and it can be really discouraging.
Mhm.
Like a lot of, and sometimes you even hear messages from other professionals, like you can't get better, or from other
Mhm.
people. What would you share with somebody who's maybe discouraged and feels like they can't get better?
That it's easy to feel that way. I understand it, especially when FND is one of the most diagnoses in neurology clinics, but they're the most misunderstood and underfunded. So it's
Right.
easy. It's easy to feel that way. You feel like you're helpless and that there's no hope. And there's some real medical trauma. You have a lot of people coming to you with medical trauma and that feel that way. But I think the fact that there are clinicians out there who are dedicated and that there's a community out there that's ready to support and both of those are growing every day, as long as that growth continues to happen, we have hope. There is hope of getting better. So, it's easy to fall into that there's nothing that can be done. But for every person that tells you no, there's a resource that would tell you yes.
Mhm. I keep taking notes, Danny, from all of your words, by the way, because they're so good. I feel like you should be a motivational speaker.
Oh, don't
You're
make my head bigger than what it is, Julie.
you're like you're so
Thank
eloquent with your
you.
words, and your speech was impacted by your FND.
I know I can't shut up now.
Don't shut up. I think this is a sign you should not shut up because you bring so many words of wisdom. They're just flowing like a
Thank
river.
you. Thank you.
And also I'm just really kind of awestruck and really amazed by your progress too. Um what and I always share with like
Hmm.
other clinicians that we learn the most from you,
Hmm.
from the people we work with. And so for the clinicians out there, what message do you have for them? You've already shared a lot of gems, but anything else?
Um, that FND is not a spectrum, or FND is a spectrum. That
Hmm.
it's not one size fit all. So your treatment approach needs to be exactly the same. Resources and treatment should be tailored to the specific patient. And part of that tailoring goes back to what I talked about, making the patient feel a part of the plan, getting to know them outside of their diagnosis, really taking your eyes off that paper and looking at your patient and build
Mm.
them into that treatment plan. That type of connection builds trust, and that type of trust can turn into great results. So, don't view FND as, like I said, this one size fit all. It is very individual to that individual and should be treated as such.
Did you see me taking notes? I'm taking notes. I was like,
Julia said I
you,
can't see you.
oh, that's right. You can't see me. Well, I'm over here taking notes every time you open your mouth. And like you should be teaching the class.
Oh.
So that was so, so good. Connection and trust are key.
Mhm.
Um, Now we got to talk about your nails. And just like, what are you doing now? What is life like? And I know part of that, I'm putting my little puny nails up
Mhm.
here, but I wish I had your nails. But yeah, what are you doing now?
Well, Julie, you can send me a DM. But I'm doing a lot of things. I'm keeping from what I've learned. I'm keeping my sensory tools on me
Mm,
everywhere I go.
mm.
I'm telling everybody and they mama about FND, about reactive. They're probably tired of me talking about it, but I do not care. And I'm trying to build back my strength, and build back that additional confidence to add on to that confidence that I had. And a lot of that is my cognitive skills. You mentioned my speech. I've been working really hard on my speech, my reading as well. So that's gotten better. So
Mm.
I'm definitely doing all the things and capitalizing on what I've learned, keeping up to my schedules that I learned in OT. Y'all be proud of me. Um, so, those are the specific things that I'm doing, and just gauging my energy, giving myself permission and grace.
Mm.
So that's from that standpoint. But I'm also working now with a new team of doctors that are trying to identify other issues outside of FND, because there are other things, and these doctors are really listening to me. And it's that hope piece that I
Yeah.
have hope that I'm like, okay, I'm going to be able to take care of myself from a medical standpoint holistically. So we're addressing those. But from a fun standpoint, remember I told you that, like, I was already looking at a career change in the next 4 years. I wanted to wait until my daughter was out of high school, and I've been in corporate for many, many years, but I always had a pull that I needed to do something different. I wanted to
Mm.
do something to help other people. And so I had made the decision while I was there, because I've essentially lost my employment.
Yeah.
So we can look at that as a hardship or a blessing. You pick your
Hmm.
choice. I'm choosing to look at it as a blessing. And that blessing for me is that the connections that I made there at Reactive has forced me to have a different perspective on what I'm doing with my life. So next
Mm.
week, I am meeting with counselors from 2 schools regarding their physical therapy assistant program. And it's going to be hard, especially because my reading's hard right now. But I am very determined, and I want and need to be in a space that I'm helping people like myself. So that's that. In the
Wow.
meantime, I'm doing my nail thing. So I am a creative person, and I'm trying to get back to things that make me happy. So
Mm.
drawing, nails, artwork, anything that gets my creative juices flowing, as well as helping with my cognitive skills, has definitely made me happy. And so I decided to stop being so scared and made my nail Instagram go live, and it has been amazing. I'm shipping out orders. Ashley, my sister, is my walking billboard, and she's constantly like at Starbucks. The girls love me. So
Oh, oh
I'm doing nails
my.
on the side until I can, really figure out what I'm doing. But in all, I'm taking my time and I'm getting back to Danielle, or whatever that may look like.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on this like rediscovery journey. What
Mhm.
is so for people to see your nails,
Mhm.
what is their your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is drippy_tips by Dani. I am trying to post more. Julie, you don't like Instagram, and I'm learning that, to be a business owner, I got to be the photographer, I gotta post. I gotta be the marketing person. So,
No.
be patient with me if you choose to follow me, because it is a work in progress, and I am taking my time as far as my energy. But
Yeah.
if be patient with me, it's worth it. So, but I love it. They're custom, they're reusable, and they're handmade and they're unique, and I love it.
And
It's fun.
they are gorgeous. Do a
Thank
little
you.
like up close of yours here so we can see.
I
Oh,
went to a 2000s party, and I had to dress head to toe. So I was like, let me
yes.
look up how my mama used to wear her nails.
Oh my gosh, you did a little
I
research and you
did.
made the
My mom, these are
2000s
very
nails.
reminiscent of my mom, who also came and did
Yes.
TikToks with us. So
She sure
yeah.
did.
Hmm.
She sure
Yep.
did. That
Yep.
was awesome. So you've got creative pursuits. You're looking at going back to
Yep.
school, which
Yep.
is like incredible. And yeah, I know Jenna was cheering you on here in the comments. Um, and then DJ Lena says, wow, those are so pretty.
Thank
They
you.
are. So you got to check out Drippy Tips by
Yes.
Dani, everybody. um, but also just really encouraging to hear where your journey is taking you.
Thank
And
you.
it's not done, right?
No,
Like it's always
it's
evolving.
always
So
evolving.
yeah. But to be able to catch up with you after you were here in the summer and we're heading into the holidays and just seeing the progress that continues, like this isn't where you were at the end of your program. Like it keeps
I
going. Um,
know. It's crazy. Every day I see a new win and I celebrate those wins. And now, like, I got canes to match my outfits.
of course you
I'm
did.
sporting I'm sporting those mobility aids.
And they
And I'm
match
sporting them
your
proudly.
outfits. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. That is so great. Well, Dani, thank you. So this was just like the highlight of my week,
Oh,
to get to see you, to hear you, and just for you also to just bravely share your story and keep advocating and really encouraging others too. I think it's really making an impact in the world. So thank you.
oh. Well, thank you, Julie, and to the entire team of Reactive. I mean, everyone from the front office down to the back. I mean, you guys are amazing, and I can't say it enough. Like, anybody on here who is on the fence or, has a friend that or family that may be on the fence, please, it is so worth it. And to get back to life, it's worth any amount of money. So just do
Oh, well, I cannot wait to see what is next for you, Dani. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Julie.
All
Y'all have
right.
a good night. Bye.
Bye.